everybody. Welcome to the Quantum Bridge again. Today we have with us Cassie and Rich from Oraphim, and they do everything Shungite. So, welcome to the show today, guys. It's great to have you here.
Hey,
Thanks for having us.
You're welcome. I'm going to start with a simple question. Which came first, the love of Shungite or the love of each other?
ooh.
It's not
Well,
that simple.
it kind of is actually, because the Shungite goes back further than you in a way,
Mm-hmm.
but then the fullerene molecule that's found in Shungite brought me to you, and then there's you.
Yeah, then it's just me.
So it's kind of the crossovers with how magical the fullerene and the Shungite is brings people together, and that's really fundamental actually.
Yeah, but it's also I think we've been so creative, and that's the energy that it's all about, really. That because being creative is constantly moving energy all the time. You're shifting once you've created something, you've shifted a reality kind of thing.
Mm.
It's like when we do workshops for people and they create their own little jewelry. They hold on to that day for the next 6 months until they come into another jewelry session because they just create something absolutely gorgeous. And I made that. That's it. So I think it's the creative aspect that brought us together, since I was pretty much trying to work out a way to go with what the music does. And Cassie was trying to find your way out, which way to go with the geodomes. And and being in that creative environment brought us together, really, because we met in a kind of arts cafe. You know what I mean? So
And that was before you started the business, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah.
oh yeah.
Yeah, so I remember having a conversation. Um, I put in a request with the big man, the big G, and I said, look, I've fallen enough for some really awful relationships. I don't want to do it again, but I trust you if you tell me who I should be with to support what they're doing and for the greater good. And you'll tell me who this person is through two independent friends. And that's exactly what happened. Two independent people said to me, you've got to meet this guy. He plays this weird guitar and you've just got to meet him. And I was just like, well, do you know his name? And they're like, no. Do you have any contact details? No. And so one lady said, oh, he does play around the corner at the church gallery. And I said, well, I go in there a lot because they have a big singing bowl. And I go and sit in there when I'm in Sheffield in the city centre. And I go and play the singing bowl. So I said, I'll tell you what, I'll go there now. So I walked around the corner, walked into there, sat there, played the singing bowl, and said, God, I heard you. I heard that, and I said to whoever you were at the time, I've heard that you're
knocking about.
you're there, and I'm connecting. And then my other friend met you and said, told me about this amazing guy with this amazing guitar, and I said, oh, do you have his name, his contact details? And my friend said, oh yes. And I then said back to the big God in my mind, I said, well, this is a bit awkward. I can't contact a stranger out of the blue. That would be very strange.
Yeah.
So because at that moment God said in my head, I heard God say, yes, that's him, that's the one. And so I just had to say, okay, I heard, okay. So I happened to be up at that cafe on the 10th of January, 8 years ago. Then this guy with the guitar walked past the window and comes in the cafe. And it can only be the weird guy with the guitar.
Yeah.
And I maneuvered my chair so as I could say hello and talk to him. And we got chatting.
Mm-hmm.
And we had so many things in common that were about the name fraud or trying to leave the kind of system, if you like, to be more creative and live in a different way. And during that conversation, you said to me, you're not Cassie, are you? And I said, yes, I am.
A year before, I'm still knocking about around Sheffield, busking on street corners, playing in art galleries, restaurants, whatever, and all that kind of stuff. And I met this guy because he really loved the rendition, the way that I played sitting on the dock of the bay. So he started talking to me. He was a fellow busker, and he said to me, "Oh man, you ought to come up to the traveller site. You'd love it." And his name were Richard Gay, and I'm Richard Spray. So that was Dick Gay and Dick Spray. So it was genius. So it's like, oh, we're meant to be friends for a bit, aren't we, for some reason? So I went up onto the travel site where Cassie lived, and everyone's saying, "Oh, you right, like you need to meet Cassie." So I had to wait a whole year before I actually met her. But on that morning, I got one of those angel books, and it said, "Today you're going to see somebody or meet somebody who's going to see exactly who you are, and you're going to see exactly who they are, and they're going to see the potential in each other." And I walked into that cafe. Are you Cassie? That's who it is then. I'll be wearing you for this.
So yeah, so really, really special. And obviously I knew what I'd heard in my God's voice to me, and I knew that yeah, there were great things to be explored and yeah, so 8 years later, 8.5 years, no, 8 years later, and we are officially deranged and engaged.
Derangement ring.
And looking forward to planning a day where we can invite people to enjoy being brought together in faith and for a purpose. So to sort of feel that
sack races. That's what I'm thinking.
Sack races, egg and spoon race.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe the wedding out like you've never known it.
But to just fill that in a bit with why I say what came first was it.
Hang on a minute. And also under geodomes.
Well, of course.
So the wedding's going to be under the geodomes, right? So that links us right back to the beginning of everything, really, because Cassie worked hard to make these geodomes, which happen to be in the same structure as the fullerenes, and so it was all that geometry that you'd been working on. And obviously, I'm working with geometry in sound, creating a space with sound. But then when you're adding the actual building blocks of reality geometry to your mix up, it becomes a bit like, right.
So yeah, so
the responsibility we've got with this bit of Shungite.
Well, I designed and made geodomes back in my early 20s, and designed them and made them out of bamboo poles, and I had all sorts of art exhibitions in them or activities, or the world's only fluorescent traveling sand pit. And I'll send you over a picture because the picture is full of orbs. The orbs absolutely love. Yeah, it's really, really special. And so when you're around these shapes and working with geometry, your whole yourself is changed, your frequency has changed, you're able to go on the journeys and do the learning that you're supposed to, and then connect with the people that you're supposed to, because you're much more connected. That's what geometry does. So that's the answer to that question.
Yeah.
Brilliant. And you still have the guitar?
It's not here.
No,
it's and I still play the guitar. Yeah,
that's good. Yeah, you have to sing us a song sometime.
Yeah.
Hasn't smashed it over your head yet or anything? No.
No, I did burn one the other night though.
No.
The one that I'd had for ages, I actually burnt it because it was kind of like, right, moving along.
All right.
I took a step up, and now I've been given a absolutely beautiful Epiphone acoustic guitar by a really good friend, and it's the 7th guitar I've been given in my life. God keeps going, will you play that bloody thing? It's like, all right then, okay.
Next time, bring it along next time.
Yeah. No, we've never had an argument.
Yeah.
No, we haven't. Yeah,
we haven't. No, we
I think we did once, but no, I was wrong about that.
It's just not something that we're interested in doing.
Mm.
I'm personally not interested.
Oh God, when you come from backgrounds that we've come from and the craziness being brought up in, you just want peace and quiet. You don't want craziness.
Mm.
And that's one of the things wherever we've moved to, there's always an element of calmness that comes to the area around us. We lived on a big mobile home kind of park thing. And after about 6 months a year, the kind of maintenance guy said, since you guys have ticked up, it's really peaceful around here. Because it's a trailer park, it's going to kick off every now and then. But because a lot of people are, you're in a trailer park, that's why they're there, because they can kick off. But it just didn't. It can't do it when we're around. It kicks off when we're not there, and then we come back to it. Oh, what's happened here?
It's like there's no underriding manipulation that either of us are trying to do on the other person. So it doesn't spill out as a reflection in our environment. That's how I view it anyway.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But without taking away your personal energetic influence on the areas, what is special about Shungite? Because that also has an effect as well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and yeah, I don't want to say that it's just me and Cassie. Oh, look at us! Wherever we go, it's peaceful. Yeah, there's a ton of Shungite in shed.
Well,
you know
yeah,
what I mean? I have so much to do with Rich. But saying that, I did make the cloud busters. I was making like the copper pole, 5 copper poles going up to about 2 meters in a base of pieces of metal, resin, silver infused shungite powder, crystals, black tourmaline. I was making them, so they are quite calming, So I think that did have an effect as well.
Well, we're not used to. Well, we are used to the effect, but a lady we sent a wholesale parcel to last week. She said she opened the box and it took her breath away for 20 minutes. She had to go and sit down. She said it was that much frequency coming out of the box. So yes, Shungite does have a big part to play in how we respond to each other.
And also with the increase in energy that we're experiencing globally, universal, I should say, that whenever you've got the sun giving out, we're having things are starting to mutate into last science bit that I was reading. Things are starting to mutate. Plants are changing, animals are changing, but we're still talking about the basic carbon blueprint that it changes from. You know what I mean? And little bit of a brick. You know what I mean? It's the basic carbon blueprint. So whenever there's a update in the planetary grid, it's part of that update because that's what it is. It is the planetary grid. It's the same geometry. So it does bring through we have some difficult times to deal with, places we get called to go to, and it's just, once again, it doesn't kick off while we're there, but we leave for a day, chaos erupts, we come back, what's happened here, things can't stay, it's that old saying, under every stone will be turned over, everything that's hidden will be seen, it's all that kind of stuff. So there's no running away from fundamental truths with it. It's not just la, let's be happy. It's yeah. So yeah, it's yeah.
So after that, the domes you was doing, when did you add the Shungite into the mix? Did you start straight away with jewelry or?
So we spent a bit of time apart in the kind of after the first year together, and during that time I was doing some research, and I came across Nancy Hopkins and a podcast about Shungite, and I had a listen, and it was so interesting that I ordered some of her products from America, and I found that they were really powerful. So I kept listening to her radio show, A Cosmic Reality, and started researching the Shungite. And what I found was It was really very plain looking. It all looked like it's from the same factory or same manufacturer. It wasn't pretty in any way. So the more we researched, the more we looked at what we could do with it. It even though I'd not made resin cast jewelry before, I found a way to do it, and that really spurred me on. So
I think sorry to interrupt you, one of the first things was the stickers, because Nancy Hopkins made a specific sticker for your mobile phone. So that was one of the first obstacles to get over, is to try and, because we're talking like $20 for one, and then you've got postage to get
import tax.
You talk 30 quid easily for like just one phone. It's like, it's not reasonable. So we go out and buy one, work out kind of how much is in it, and work how to make them ourselves, basically.
Yeah.
And that was one of the first things, isn't it? And that getting the stickers for your phone, because they're so cheap and so easily, sent out and stuff. That turned into a little bit of his bread and butter to keep. We've got some legs here,
But it's very good with the EMF frequencies and things, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is, yeah. And that was one of the things when I was growing up with my son. He's grown up and left home now. But when these EMF solutions came out, they were about £30, and he has a phone and I had a phone, and I was on a very, very low income. And those sorts of outlays were just something I couldn't really stretch to. And so one of the kind of founding principles for us is we want to make it affordable because it's important. And that's what we've stuck to. So we have a full range of affordability for people. So people can have really high-end handmade silver setting, or they can have something that's more kind of in the price range, but still has the powerful punch that the silver infused shungite gives it.
Yeah, it's like a key ring, making something beautifully silver and all singing and dancing, but then you get a key ring for a couple of quid, you know what I mean? Because it's just a little bit of something that you've got onto somebody,
Yeah, and you can gift it at that price, and that's all we want for everybody. Whether it's someone or a stranger, you want to be able to help everyone be okay, and that's part of why we work so hard to do what we do, is because it's important, and that's the key. Yeah.
I mean, we're going to do hopefully do a show on each thing that you make. But,
yeah.
I mean, at the minute you've got jewelry, isn't it?
Yeah.
Skincare.
Yep.
Pyramids.
Yep.
And the water toggle purification, isn't it?
Yeah. So shungite, because it's so versatile and it's really working at the fundamentals of energy work to put everything back in line with nature. So that's where it's able to purify the air waves as well as the water waves, as well as your frequency waves that you're creating. So that's where we have things that you can really enjoy for skincare and looking after your body, as well as wearing something for your frequency upgrade. And then we've also got things for the pets, because it's beneficial for pets as well. But yeah, predominantly it was first known for purifying water and healing the body through the water. So that's a whole topic on itself. We've got some new testing equipment. So by the time we get to that session, we'll have some really interesting new results on the water to share. So we're saving that for you.
Okay, we'll put that one towards the later.
towards the
burner.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's really interesting for us. And then the other service that we're bringing online is to be able to put loved ones' ashes into the pyramids and the jewelry, because there's so many people passing over these days, and rather early in their lives, that shouldn't be happening. And so what we can do is we can help that process for the family, because the frequency change you get from the jewelry in the pyramids is so powerful that when you add the ashes, and if I just show you with the pyramid, when you add the shungite to pyramids, there's a frequency, and people can feel it coming out the top. So just running your hand across the top, you can feel this little wind coming through. And when it's infused with the ashes, and we did one the other week, and the lady was so pleased, you can connect back with your loved one, and it really does help with the PTSD and just the whole more, grieving process. So that's something we're looking forward to doing for people. Yeah.
And you also have you do workshops and things as well, don't you, where people can learn some of these skills for themselves, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, as Rich was saying earlier, I come from an art workshop teaching background, and with Rich playing music in the background of the workshops, it's a really magical day. We did one last weekend, and people were just giddy to come back. They'd done the workshop before, and they're just like, "We're back," and they've booked again. We've got one coming up in Sale in Manchester in June. We're over Telford Way in the autumn. We're back in Thorn for 2 days in November. So we're taking bookings for doing the workshops. And again, it's a day where you really transform yourself through your own skills and knowledge base, and you leave with your own jewelry that you've created. Yeah.
And you get your feet washed.
Oh yeah, we wash your feet as well.
Yeah. Good enough for Jesus to do it to everybody. Why can't we?
So we do with those Shungite foot spa.
Wash your feet. Wash your feet.
Yeah, it really does finish off a lovely day.
And with that as well, the music that really helps in, because basically you've got a room full of people who don't know each other, and then it's like, right, you're going to make these beautiful, creative, beautiful things. So before everybody starts, we just have a little 2 minutes, and everybody will just calm down. I'll play a bit of beautiful music. Everybody settles down, and it's like, right, off you go. Because it's important, the sounds that are around you when you're going into that creating zone. So if you've got somebody playing live in front of you, rather than it helps people just to,
you're just setting yourself up for the next video, don't you?
Excellent.
Yeah, I was just yeah.
To bring
Yeah, I don't generally sing with the workshops though, because it's not about that. It's just about creating it's same. I've even wrote specific pieces for art galleries. Do you remember Tony Hart?
Yeah.
Where you used to have that, where kids used to send the photographs in, and they had a piece of music, and they go around used to send their art in, and there's a piece of the gallery music.
Yeah.
The gallery.
I bought. Yeah. So I wrote a piece for the gallery. So I've got a piece that's basically, it's like that kind of thing. So it works really well in an art gallery. But yeah, so it's just nice pieces of music that have got the little times and places for them.
But I think that thing of creating sort of a portal or a time, a moment of time I think it's nice that you're mentioning that, because all of these things go together, don't they? They all coexist in a way where each of them is sort of feeding off each other and creating that environment. I think that's really nice.
There's a lot of temptation with music to fill every single moment in time. So that's what a lot of music I'll fill a lot of moments in time and then not fill a bit, just to leave some space and some gap. Yeah. And it's so refreshing for people. Yeah, it does, like you say, it creates a field, creates a whole consciousness, life in itself. It's lovely. You get cooked seed cake as well.
The magic is in those moments where we all the magic really comes in the silence in many ways. So
yeah, and it's what a humbling experience for myself to be sitting there. I've been there. I've been in pubs, all that kind of stuff. People getting drunk in front of you, just chaos erupting around you whenever you want to play music. I don't want to do that. Thank you very much. Yeah. I just want to play to some what they must have been between 40 to 60-year-old women. Oh, brilliant, fantastic.
I'll do it.
Yeah, found your audience.
That's it. It took me long enough.
Great.
All 10 of them.
Okay, well, what we'll do is hopefully music or not, but we'll talk about jewelry next time, which is great because Cassie thought she was doing that today, so she's more than prepared.
It's everywhere. It's everywhere over here. It's all over the place.
Well, hopefully we'll record that next week sometime soon. So we'll do a deep dive on each one of these little products. But, time is short again with us. Hopefully, like I said, we'll come back and we'll do jewelry next week. If you're up for that.
Yeah, that'd be wonderful. Thank you so much for having us. And
we'll have a musical introduction to the jewellery, shall we?
Yeah, good plan.
Yeah, that would be great.
So.
Yeah, play in and play out. Yeah.
Yeah.
We shall look forward to it.
Yeah, me too.
The other thing to say that we will obviously, this will be edited to some degree and obviously show any images that we need to, but also in our show section, if there's anything you guys want us to include, anything that will help people get to your material, see more of it, understand it more on this journey with us all, just send it across. We're just really keen to get as many eyes on what you're doing as we can.
Fabulous. Thank you so much. Yes, I'll send over a whole load of bits and bobs for you.
Yeah, and with the editing, edit all the times you swore as well. Take them out.
We're very well behaved. You probably noticed we're actually very
There's no chaos here.
No.
You know, the Shungite, that's the thing. You know?
This is all 5D once we switch on and the Shungite's in the background, you know.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Take care, Bob.
We'll see you again soon, guys. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks very much. Cheers.